Hi guys. Oh wow, that's really bright back there. Okay. I was trying to change it up for you guys by doing the background, but that's not going to work because of the sun. So let me adjust that. Woo, that is sunny. One moment and let me adjust that. Okay, sorry about that. Thought I could use some of that natural light, but it doesn't look like that is the case. So, welcome, guys. I'm doing well. Thank you for being here, Ninja Wolf. So glad you guys are here. Now, why does that look foggy? So we are talking about why marriages don't last today. And this is a really important topic, even if you are single and you're like, how does this pertain to me if I'm single? Because most of the people who come to my channel are single. So you might be asking, this is lemon water, by the way, not drinking wine during a YouTube live, although that's a good idea. We should do that one day. Everyone drink wine together. Oh, wonderful. Joe Boy is married. Okay, awesome. We have a married guy. So, this is going to be so much fun because you are married. So, I'm really excited to get your feedback on this. That's going to be wonderful. Yeah, let's all have a drinking game. She's drinking wine. I wish I were drinking wine, but you would never put lemon in wine. Mm. Joe Boy. Oh, okay. These are great. We've got some married guys in here. Joe Boy, how long have you been married? POV Marimba. Um, how long have you been married? You said you're married and struggling. Oh, you've been married for 3 months. Wow, it's a new marriage. So this is great. I'm so glad that we have married guys here. But I just want to say for Penguin says, good morning, I'm divorced. I just want to say that 17 years, wife cheated 2 years ago. Okay. I'm really sorry that that has happened in your marriage, and we're going to talk about that. You're going to get some support here. So, for the singles, I think that when we talk about marriage, I think that as a single person, I think the big elephant in the middle of the room, so to speak, is why? Why would I do that? I've heard so many skeptical point of views about marriage. It's just a piece of paper. Um, it doesn't make sense to do it. I've heard so many men say men just get screwed in marriages. There's so many reasons why people have become super skeptical about marriage. And from a singles perspective, when some of you who come to my channel, when you're single, you're like, Arica, why even try? I feel like there is a sentiment of hopelessness that is attached to marriage. Now, oh, very cool. You, Joe Boy, your birthday is July 23rd. Is that what you're saying? That would be really cool if it is. I would love to have a fellow. Oh, so cool. Well, happy belated birthday. That is very cool that we share the same birthday. Here's the thing. I think if we said about marriage, I think if we said to singles and if married people, we heard, listen, you tell me if you would sign up for this in the chat box. If you were going to get to spend the rest of your life with your best friend and that they were going to support you in all the good times, in all of the hard times, and they would always have your back. They would always cheer you. They would always champion you. They would love you and they would see you blossom into your fullest potential and possibilities. They will always have your back. They will bring joy into your life. They will champion you. They will challenge you. This is who you are signing up for. You are signing up for a life partner to be your best friend and to be your lover. And that you guys are going to have this magic till the very end of your life. I think if we talked about marriage from that perspective, that everybody would sign up for that. Now, here's where the skepticism starts kicking in. But Arica, Moonshine, good luck with that. Exactly. Here's where the skepticism starts creeping in. We start hearing of situations where there's been cheating, where people aren't getting along, where you hear of a lot of divisiveness amongst couples. The divorce rate, we hear how high the divorce rate is. And so with that comes this unspoken hopelessness, this unspoken despair. And so what happens is we just sort of give up. I think this is something that I really believe in. I think that it takes far less courage to remain hopeful. I think it's very easy. I think it's very weak of people to partner with skepticism. I don't think it takes any courage whatsoever to be a skeptic. I think that you could judge anything in life and you could put a damper on anything in life. You could put a judgment on people. You can put a judgment on marriage. You can put a judgment on relationships. You can put a judgment on love and be skeptic about all of it. And that does not require courage. Despondency does not require courage. Having hope does. So where is the break in this? Where are we missing it? At the end of the day, it's we don't have the skill set. We don't have the tools to navigate through marriage in a healthy way. And we don't have that level of commitment. We don't have that grit for commitment like the old school. Now, one of the things that really divert us from that is choice. I mean, if you're a single person, hell, your marriage isn't if your relationship isn't going right, what do? You get on an app, you swipe, you find someone new, right? That's what people do. You just find someone new. Ah, did it work with that person? It'll work with the next person. And so, but generations prior to us, who are still married, who are still committed, some of it was because they had to. They didn't have all of the choices that we have today. They didn't have, being able to swipe for a new person at the touch of their fingertips. Oh, thank you, Penguin, for the super chat. I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you, darling. It means so much when you guys do that. It really encourages me. So thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Yes, Thomas said a lack of commitment. We don't have the grit to see things through. And so I always talk about this from a business perspective. It's what I relate to. I know that, typically my clients are typically people who, come from a business background or some form of entrepreneurs or are pretty far along in their careers. And I always use the analogy. I say, when you're building a business, when you come across challenges that are very difficult to resolve, when you have those challenges in your business, when you're moving up in your business, when you go through those challenges, what happens to your business when you go, I quit? I quit. I'm moving on and I'm not doing this. I'm going to find a new business. Have you ever seen people who have they're like serial, I wouldn't even say entrepreneurs. I would say that they're the people that they're just always creating the next business, like just going on to the next thing, the next thing, next thing. And they don't have any sustainability in what they build. And so they just, it falls apart. They move on to the next thing, right? And so that person will never become successful. They'll never enjoy the momentum. They'll never enjoy the any residuals of what their business could create. None of that stuff. They'll never be able. Here's the interesting part. Listen to these words. They will never be able to enjoy the fruit of their labor. Never. Because there's no labor. There's where there's no labor, there's no fruit. And so when it comes to relationships, there is that aspect of we don't know how to build. We have become very good at running. We have become very good at distracting ourselves. But in terms of building something that is lasting, that we can eat the fruits of for the rest of our life, that we do not have. And so, yes, I can say, look, we have far more options. There are far more things that we can do as single people with freedom now. And so, why get married when you can be free and be single? But it's the same thing of then you don't ever get to enjoy when it comes to relationship. You don't ever get to enjoy the fruit of creating and cultivating intimacy where you know someone and you know their depths. You know they're good, you know they're bad, you know they're ugly, and you still choose to love them and you still love them. And guess what? They do the same for you because, we're all doing our best to evolve and to become great people. I think that that's why you guys come to my channel. But let me tell you, when you get into a relationship, boy, it really highlights the areas in your life where you are not so great. It's like a huge mirror in your face and you're like, "Wow, I didn't know that I did that." Or I didn't know that I show up that way. Or I didn't know I could, be this rude. I didn't know I could be this aggravated or agitated. Being in a relationship really highlights those things because it's a constant mirror in front of you that you can't run away from unless you choose the chicken way out, and that's just to run out of the relationship. But if you have courage and you have the right tools and you stay in it, then you really have to face yourself. You really have to see, like, whoa, I've got some real growing to do. I'm not as great as I thought I was. But in marriage, like if you've seen people like these older couples, let me tell you something. When you see them like holding hands or the way that they know each other, there is something about that rich history that they build and that they cultivate that you cannot replace when you're constantly jumping from relationship to relationship. It's just like a business. It's the same thing with a business. It's if you were constantly just ending a business and building the next one and ending a business and building the next one. It's like, what kind of legacy do you leave? And two, when can you actually enjoy the fruit of what you've created? And so the question becomes, what is it that we need? Well, one, you have to have a value for it. Like none of us are going to work for anything unless we understand the value. And so sometimes the quickest way to understand the value of relationships and marriage is to see what it costs you not to be in one. And so, listen, I know that there are plenty of single people that can say very funny, quirky things that just say, oh, marriage and relationships, they aren't worth it. And this is why, and ha, 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 ha. But, I coach people. And when I'm coaching people, it's really dark, the things that people go through when they've been perpetually single, when they've been perpetually alone, when they haven't been able to cultivate relationship. It gets really dark for people. And so sometimes the quickest way to value something is to understand the absence of not having it. When you really get really honest with yourself and you take inventory of what will my life be like if I continue to have what I currently have right now? What will my life, what will it be like if I have to live with this same numbing pain for the rest of my life? What is that going to do to my mental health? What is that going to do to me emotionally? What is it going to do to me spiritually? How much of my heart am I going to be able to live from? And so I do believe that in relationship, in marriage, that it does bring a sense of wholeness. It brings a sense of fulfillment in our life. But are they challenging? Are marriages challenging? Are relationships challenging? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they're challenging. Being in a relationship with yourself is a challenge. Then you bring somebody else in with their own story, their own baggage, their own quirks, and you bring them into the mix. And then it becomes even more complicated. But when we have a value for something, we're more inclined to build. It's just like for the entrepreneur who is very focused on building their business. It's like when they look at the value of what will this bring to my life? How happy do I feel about what I'm building? Yes, you see the hard times. You want to give up, but you keep pushing on because you feel so fulfilled in the building. And so when it comes to that, it's really understanding that when we have the right tools, it's just like I'll go back to what I'm talking about building a business. When you get the right tools, building your business takes a whole different form. I'll give you a perfect example. When I was starting with my YouTube channel, now they have this whole thing called YouTube analytics, and you can see everything. You can see what country people are coming from. You can see what sex. You can see the age dynamic. It gives you all of these analytics, and then you can make decisions from there of how you want to run your channel. But before those days, before we had those analytics, it was hard. It was just like throwing darts, at a blank wall and hoping that something made sense. And for me, there were years where I was just putting up YouTube video after YouTube video and wasn't getting any traction until like you start understanding like analytics and metrics and things like that. And then that it takes a whole different form. What am I saying? Having access to those tools changed the game for me. Then when I started having success with it, guess what? I was more motivated. I wanted to make more videos. I wanted to touch more people's lives. Why? Because I had the tools. And so that's what I would say is the biggest thing that we have is we don't have a value for marriage because we haven't stopped and thought about what our lives look like. We're not very honest. Here's the real truth. We're not as honest with ourselves about how empty our lives are alone. And we're so good at distracting ourselves and keeping ourselves busy that we never slow down enough to ask those real questions. And so, what we end up doing is running around like a chicken with our head cut off, running from one thing from the next, and then wondering why we have so much anxiety, why we're so depressed, because we're not stopping and asking ourselves, what makes my life meaningful? What is the value of having relationship and having people in my life? What is the value? And the quickest way to find the value is to realize the absence of not having those things. And so let's just have some real talk here with I just want to scroll up here. I want to make sure that I say your name correctly. So you have Joe Boy who's here and he's married and he's been married for 3 months. And so typically at the beginning of a marriage, that's a real sweet point. That's a really fun part of the relationship. And so I'm curious, Joe Boy, if you would be open to share, like, what are the benefits of why did you get married? What are the benefits of being married? Like, what do you get out of it? I think that's a very honest question. What do you get out of being married? But then you have a situation like POV Marimba that says, his wife cheated 2 years ago. And I think that that is something that scares us the most when it comes to marriages is someone can really screw me over. And there's a part of me that feels like I'm going to be stuck with that person. I'm going to be stuck with the pain that they cause, which is why I think a lot of single people are like, I just rather avoid pain. But sometimes in the absence of pain, you create a whole different problem for yourself. So in that situation, for you guys, I used to believe that time healed all wounds. And when I went through some very painful chapters of my life, I realized that no matter how much time went by, that time did not heal those wounds, and that going to therapy, seeing coaches, getting really active about my internal health was what brought the change, not just waiting around and watching the clock go by. So in POV, in your situation, it's like if your wife, if you still love her and she is, she's not, she is remorseful and not just remorseful, but I think when someone really owns what they've done, there's some people who can just say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then that's it. And then there are some people that go, "Hey, what I did," and they'll lay it out word by word, precept upon precept. They will lay it all out. This is what I did, and it sucked. And I hurt you, and that was not okay. And you did not deserve that. When a person owns their shit like that, then that becomes someone that you may want to fight for. But how do you fight for them? Because time is not going to heal it. How do you fight for a person like that? And in that situation, that's where you really need tools. That's where you really need a therapist. That's where you really need a coach, where you guys may need to go to like a couples retreat, for a situation like this. But in that kind of scenario, it's getting super active about restoring the relationship. So I'm just trying to come to the comments. I like this comment. Zero Punt says, "Love is a gym trainer, not a masseuse." I love that. I've never heard anyone say that. And I think that that is so brilliant because I think that we get really conditioned that love is a masseuse. And when it doesn't feel good, you're like, well, this can't be love because what they said, what they did sucked. It was awful. It hurt. And so it must not be love. But at the end of the day, people are fallible, man. People make some stupid decisions. We, on our own, make stupid choices. We do really stupid things. And that is the journey of being human. But if we choose to grow from those things, if we choose to get stronger in those things, then love becomes that gym trainer where you get muscles, you get things that you're actually proud of. You actually enjoy the person that you look at in the mirror. Think about when you've been seeing a trainer and your body starts changing. You're like, wow, I actually enjoy looking in the mirror. It's the same thing in relationship with this great analogy. You start loving yourself even more because you begin to grow, and all those dark shadows, all those deep things that used to rob you of the best of yourself, as you start confronting those in marriage, in relationship, Then you start loving who you are when you get in front of a mirror. So it essentially is finding the right tools. And something that I wanted to share with you guys, um, sorry, just trying to get this for you guys. Um, I have been, there we are. That's what I want to share with you. Um, I get a lot of people who I have a lot of my online courses that you can do at any point in your life. But what a lot of people reach out to me for is coaching. Everyone wants to get coaching, which I love. I think that's great. And so my fall is going to be quite busy. So what I did was I've been toying with the idea of creating a 1 month coaching program with me. And so you can apply for it right there. There's a link. Anyone you've been really interested in doing some coaching with me, and you, for whatever reason, it just hasn't been the right time. This is something that I am doing. It's by invite only. You have to fill out this application. My team and I are going to go through the application. It's going to be for a small number of people. So I can't take everyone, but I really want to read your applications, hear your why you want coaching. And I want to share it with you guys. What I'm looking to do, uh, as my fall is going to get pretty busy, I'm looking to do it's for 1 month, and I'm going to be working with a handful of people. Um, and and basically, what it is it's at a discounted rate than what I would normally charge. It's going to be a group setting. One thing that I'm doing is I'm creating a new course. And so in this coaching experience, you will also be a part of me creating this new course. And so that's why it's at such a heavy discount, because you will be helping me in the creative process while also receiving coaching from me. It will be for a month, and we will be meeting every week in a Zoom platform. So if you've been wanting to do coaching with me, now is your opportunity. If you're part of this live, and I'll be sending it to you guys who are part of my email list, you'll get this opportunity as well. But I wanted to put that out there, that this is something I'm going to be running for 1 month. And so I'm excited to be able to, it's one thing to help you guys in something like this. Obviously, I can't see your face. I can't hear your story. So it's very hard for me to actually coach you. I can just give generic advice, but there are some people who actually are in some serious situations, or are really at a place where it's just a turning point in their lives and they want to change and they need help. And so this 1 month coaching experience will be a group experience. And oh, thank you for that. Who was that? Sean. Yes, Sean, I am back in France. I'm back here, thankfully, in the French Riviera. So I appreciate your super chat. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. So, like I said, it's going to be a group coaching experience. It's going to be live. It's going to be on Zoom. It's going to be for a month. We're going to meet every week, and it's at a very significant discounted price. But you do have to apply. So hit that form, and then we will go through the applications, and then we will decide who will be a part of this very special event. Yo, Williams, that's like my favorite emoji. Just did the Italian, like, oh, come on. I love it. I love it. All right. I just want to come to the chat. Um, I wanted to see if Joe Boy was able to respond. I don't see it. Thank you, Sios. I'm not saying your name right. Siosma. Nice tan look plus good looking slim guns. Thank you, guys. I've gotten back into running, which I'm still can't decide if I love or hate it. But I'm doing it. POV, oh, I'm so glad that what I said resonated with you. He says, you are spot on. I'm glad that that helped. Um, I love that. 0 point. Indeed, growth, molting in your chrysalis body. I love that. Um, Ninja Wolf says, I want to get out of the loneliness real bad. It's really aggravating. But Ninja Wolf, you were the one who was just talking shit about marriage. And that's what I'm talking about. Singles just like you. You guys are miserable and lonely as hell, but then you're going to rag on marriage because what you got going on in your life is so great. No, you just need to start getting new tools, new tools, new tools. Um, Ron says, hello, and so good to see you again. Ninja Wolf, you know better than to rag on things like that on my channel. Um, Boss Big Mike, my wife cheated a year ago. Ooh, I am so sorry that you went through that. And what I noticed is if you're not healed or ready for forgiveness, then don't just jump back into the marriage. This is the time to be selfish and focus on your mental. That is really, really powerful because, here's the thing. I think that, and I've talked about this before. There's a wonderful book called CPTSD. And, when you go through a situation like this, like infidelity, it's trauma. It is absolute trauma. That kind of betrayal is very difficult to come back from. And so in this book about complex post-traumatic stress disorder, he says that oftentimes people will push too quickly the forgiveness process. And that some people are just not in the place to offer that. And I completely agree with you that when you say like, you've got to take that time to focus on yourself before you jump back into the marriage. At the end of the day, you can't give out of an empty vessel. You have to fill yourself back up. And when something like that transpires, it is a huge withdrawal of your life, of your emotions, of your mental and psychological capacity. And so when that happens, you're like running on empty. And so the best thing that you can do before you rush back into the relationship is fill your own cup, fill your own vessel, take time for yourself so that you can position yourself to go, can I forgive this person? Can we move on? Can we work through this? See, Ninja Wolf, I'm telling you, man, you got to reevaluate your priorities. He says, I'm single, all right? There's nothing to laugh, neither joke about. It's much safer than being stuck into this marriage. And that's the thing. I think that a lot of people confuse safety with what actually is going to make them come alive. People who are very risk averted, people who always play it safe, you can see there's an emptiness inside of them. Like people who don't take risks, people who don't live life fully from their heart, you can see this kind of gray in their life, this dullness to their eyes. There's not this vibrance that exudes from them. And it's when you're constantly trying to play life safe, you miss out on the richness, the beauty, the adventure that life can provide to you because you're trying to play it safe. Uh, I love what Doug says. Matt C, that mic drop. He says safety equals avoidance. That is a mic drop. Very good. Very, very, very good. Yeah. Douglas says it's good to do what is best for you about this thing called marriage. Always. Um, I love that. Zero Punch says, never give from the depths of your well, give from your overflow. Roomy. Moonshine says, I'm single, but I enjoy it. Sorry, but I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with being single. But what I'm saying is that when you're not honest about when you're single and the pain aspect, when people try to pretend like, oh, it's just fine and it's wonderful, there's a lot of denial. There's a lot of lack of honesty with that. Because if it were just so great, one, you wouldn't even be on my channel. Mic drop to you right there. You wouldn't be watching this. But we have to be really honest of what is the cost of avoiding commitment? What is it actually costing us? And I think that there are seasons that we all go through where we enjoy being single. And I think we need that season to find ourselves, to be with ourselves, to enjoy ourselves. Because if you don't know how to enjoy yourself, when you get into a relationship, you're still there. It's like there's this saying that I like to say is everywhere I go, there I am. And it's like, so even if you're not happy when you're single, being in a relationship isn't going to make you happy either, because everywhere you go, there you are. So I know this is kind of like a different topic for my channel, but I'm so glad we're talking about it. Thank you guys for your openness. Those of you who are married, really appreciate you sharing your stories here. Really, really appreciate that. And also, don't forget this coaching opportunity that I have for those of you. I encourage everyone to apply. Don't be shy, please apply. We will definitely read every application, but we will only be selecting a handful of people. It is at a very discounted rate. It is for a month. It is a group coaching with Zoom, and we will be meeting every week. And there is no question and no scenario that you cannot bring to the group. Cut the crap. I would encourage you to apply for the coaching group that I'm about to do. So that could be your opportunity. All right, guys, I love you so, so, so much. Thank you for being a part of this. We have another live coming out this Thursday. I have an interesting video coming out tomorrow. People who have lost a spouse. I can't believe how many people, I get a lot of emails from people who have lost a significant other and really get lost with like what to do next in dating. So if you know someone in that situation, make sure that you share that video with them tomorrow. And one thing I want to get started doing, I want to start having you guys take pictures of these YouTube lives with me. And then you can tag me on my Instagram and then I will repost it. So that would be really fun. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I'll see you on Thursday. Know that you're loved, know that you matter, and know that yes, love is risky, but so is staying in pain. All right, guys, I will see you on Thursday. All of you take care. Much, much love to you. Take care. Bye, guys.